Okay, so thank you all of you who are attending our first lecture for the online version of Chem 101, something I've never done, you may have never done. It's not really a class that is completely amenable to an online format because of labs, but I think that given my experience with making videos and streaming, I think that you will get a good experience regardless, and you'll have your first lecture experience today to see what it's going to be like doing this online. Okay. So I do want to point out a few things that have changed on Canvas. Okay, where's my chat? Oh, my chat box back on the top. Okay, so so on Canvas here, you're going to notice that we have a new revised syllabus in Unit 0. So I'd like to go over that syllabus now. So I'm going to open it on my PDFs here. 101 Prep Syllabus Revised. So it's a revised syllabus. You can find it in the modules right there. So first thing. And so let's go over what changes the syllabus has undergone here. And I'll explain to you how we're going to do lecture and how we're going to do lab. So you can see that all of the lecture and lab times are the same. We're just, instead of doing them in a room on campus, we'll be doing them over Confer Zoom. And everything that happened before the spring break has been left unchanged. And now we say, okay, spring break conversion to online. So this is all of this afterwards includes the changes. So we've got, in terms of experiments that you've already done, I have to give, we missed a couple of experiments because I was sick, but I have a few. So it would be experiment 15, 2, 5, and 8. 8 we didn't do. So just experiment 14. I have a few experiments I have to hand back to you. So regarding also the exams and the homework, which I have now graded and posted the scores for. So for this homework, or for all these things that had scores previously, you'll be getting a package back, scanned and emailed to you, that will have all of the work that you turned in by paper previously. I've ordered a duplex scanning machine that I can use to scan through all of your documents so I can send them to you. So one important question was, will I get my work back, like exam 2? How will I know how it was graded? I will be scanning those and sending this to you by this weekend. So all of your old work from before the break, you will have returned via email. Okay. For stuff going forward, our lectures will be handled on Zoom. Also lab sessions, when I explain to you how to do the lab, will be over Zoom. And then your experiments will be lab assignments, which will be placed onto Canvas. And I'll show you how it is that you will turn in those lab assignments. There are going to be 2 ways in which you'll be able to do that. Okay. There are 2 exams remaining, although I have adjusted the point values. We'll talk about points in a moment. These are the only assignments that will be timed. So there will be a number of other assignments, one for each lesson. I've already got the lesson 16 assignment up. There will be a number of assignments that, that you'll just do on mastering chemistry. And those assignments have almost no limitations. You can retry the problems. You can get them wrong. You can try again until you get them all right. Okay. So I expect that everyone should be able to get full points on the assignments. However, for the tests, they will be timed, and there will be 2 hours during our normal, starting at 11 a.m. So 2 to 1 o'clock. And those will be timed. The final exam will be timed starting at 11 a.m. It will be a 3-hour exam. For those, you are expected to finish them in the time frame. And if you don't, then you have to let me know. So our first lab will be today. I'll get you started on experiment 3. What about getting your stuff back? Okay, so for getting your stuff back, I can't say that I know exactly how it's going to work, because we just got word a couple days ago that they're probably going to be closing the campus for the summer as well. So you will be able to go back into your lockers. Nobody's going to be on the campus. Nobody's going to touch your stuff until you can get back to campus. But when the campus will reopen is not yet set, but I should know before the end of the semester. That said, the campus is completely shut down. Nobody is there for now, and nobody's going into the physical sciences building. So your stuff will be safe there, but it will be a while before you can get it back. Okay. And so regarding lab, I'll talk about that in just a moment. But let's, so there's still time to drop with a W. And that said, you probably got an email through the campus about decisions that are coming down from the state chancellor's office for California community colleges. For those drops that happened this semester, they're giving them a special status. And so people will know it was a drop due to this online shift. That said, I think that you can, you've already had a good commitment in here. I think that you should not find it too difficult to get the grade that you want. Hopefully I can continue to teach you from afar. But as people have seen, there were a couple people in my office hours earlier. I do not have much difficulty teaching from afar in the same way that I do when we're close up. So when office hours happen, they happen a lot like office hours would happen in my office. They're not significantly hampered by the online format. I can type things up online pretty quick for you to see. Did anyone want to ask another question at this point, either by voice, if you like, or by text? Okay, so you can ask questions at any time, of course, not even when I'm not paused and waiting for it. I don't want to wait too long because of the delay of typing or whatever. But yeah, I'm sorry to say that I don't know when you're going to get your stuff from your lockers back, but I will tell you as soon as I do know. Yeah. This is the normal same stuff of what the class is about. The topic of the class isn't changing. The requirements have not changed except for the technology requirements. Of course, you don't need your lab coat and goggles anymore. You did at the beginning, but this is the new thing that you need. And I want you to read this section and reread it very carefully, because this is what you are going to be held to from here on out in terms of technology requirements. And if you can't meet these, if these are you're concerned about these or they're a problem for you, you need to contact me right away so I can advise you on whether or not you'll be able to continue and be successful in this course. But I've tried to keep the tech requirements to a minimum. So here are the tech requirements. We will begin doing them again today. Yes, normal lab time. So everything's going to be the normal time, but we're not, well, I'll show you what the labs are going to look like though. This is a very good question, I'll bet. And I will definitely get to the labs, but we're going to do labs today. Yes, we'll start right away. So regarding how we're going to do things. So how are we going to do these labs? For assignments, which are going to be a large number of points now, and for exams, you're going to need a mobile device such as a cell phone or a personal computer and I want you to use that to access Canvas at least every 48 hours. So this is your normal class interaction now. You should be on there at least a couple times a week, preferably a little bit more frequently, just to see any new announcements and see what has changed. I want you to participate in the classes if you can, and at least watch the YouTube videos at the very least. And this is the big thing. This is your big homework for tonight if you haven't already. I know, let's see, last time I checked, we have 26 people in this class. And for my Mastering Chemistry course for this class, I have 15 enrolled. So there are 11 of you that still need to enroll in this. So let me show you how you're going to do that. Okay. I'll show you in a moment, but after we're done going through the syllabus, but you will need to register for Mastering Chemistry. That's how all our assignments and exams will be done. You need to get in there and try it and see if you're okay with doing it this way. If not, you should let me know right away. I do have these instructions posted on Canvas. It's no cost to you to get this. So you do need to have Mastering Chemistry to continue with this class, but it is free. Then for lab assignments, there's going to be two ways that you can submit the lab assignments. One is going to be by using a PC or Mac, some kind of computer with Microsoft Word software. And that is provided free by the campus. I'll show you the instructions on how to get that. You can use this to type lab assignments directly into the Word document, and then you can upload the Word document to submit me the lab report. Or if you have a printer, you can print out the lab report, and then you can write on it and use a scanner or cell phone to upload a picture of the lab report or pictures. And that will suffice as well. You need to do it in one of these two ways. Okay. So did anyone want to ask a question now about the tech requirements for the course and what you will need in order to continue in the class? Okay, feel free to ask if you do, by voice or by, oh yeah. I think that it would, Tanner. What I want you to do is when so the question is, would Pages on Mac be sufficient? I think that it will, but you can get Word on Mac as well for free. But I think Pages will work. You can probably open the Word document in Pages, although it will look a little different. So the way I'm going to teach you how to type in equations, for example, will be on Word. So if you want to turn in things that way, you'll either need to learn how to do the same thing in Pages, or you'll have to download Microsoft Word, which is free.
Okay.
You don't have to pay for it. Oh, good. Yeah. All right. Excellent. All right. I was feeling a little lonely in here. So yeah. Okay. So if you have any other questions, yeah, again, just you can always shout them out, or you can type them. Yes, the access code is available. And let me show you where that access code is. So I announced it a few days ago. So if you go to announcements, there's please register for Mastering Chemistry through Canvas. Okay, that was posted on March 26th. I can repeat this. Make sure that when you sign up for Mastering Chemistry, you go through Canvas. So you click right here, My Lab and Mastering. And then you go through and do their system. Now, in terms of signing up for Mastering Chemistry, I'll just show you right now since we're here. If we go back to the home to where the modules are, there are instructions by video or by PDF on how to do this. Please follow these instructions. Please go through Canvas, My Lab and Mastering. You can either click the assignments and you'll see the Mastering Chemistry assignments here. We have an assignment for today, the extra credit assignment, and this teaches you basically how to control the things in Mastering Chemistry. I'm putting some points on that as well, so you learn how to do that. And so please click through here or click through on here, My Lab or Mastering. Yours will look a little different, but you'll have a button here. This is the button you want to press. Then it will give you instructions on how to sign up for it. And when you sign up for it, you want to use the free access code. And it's right here. And I'm going to copy that right now to a new announcement so that you have it right at the top. Okay. Or can I just announce this, move this to the top somehow? Edit. Can I re-announce? So I'll just do announcements. I'll re-announce it. Okay. Reminder. Register for mastering chemistry through Canvas. Please do it through Canvas. Otherwise, sometimes it will act kind of weird. Okay, so I put that at the very top now of the announcements. You want to do this as soon as possible. This is your most important homework for today. Okay. Now, going back to the syllabus, course expectations now adjust to check Canvas frequently. You'll need to. That's where all the material is going to be posted. You're going to have to really be an active learner here. I can't, usually when I'm teaching you in person, I do this creepy thing where I look into your eyes or look at your eyebrows and try to see if you are understanding or not, right? I try to look into your soul. That's my job as a teacher a little bit, to find out if you're having trouble, even if you're not telling me that you're having trouble. But now I have no way to do that. So I need you to tell me when you're having trouble. And we can do office hours and things. We can do office hours at any time, okay? I just fire up my my Zoom and we do it this way. You can see whatever I type, whatever I write, whatever. And you can see me too, okay? But you must now ask me and let me know if you're having trouble. Otherwise, I won't know, right? I'll just know based on your progress in mastering chemistry. If you are falling behind, I will remind you, don't fall behind on the assignments. You should, after today, be getting on mastering chemistry and starting on lesson 16 and the extra credit, definitely, if you haven't already. There's 50 big points of extra credit. I said I was going to give you extra credit, 20 points for exam 1, exam 2. Instead, I give you 50 points if you do them. So that should really boost your grade in the first 2 exams, like a lot, right? There were only 260 points. So I'm allowing you on the first 2 exams to increase your scores by 20%. Yeah, so that can bring you from a 60 to an 80 or an 80 to a 100, okay, if you do all those. 100% rather. Okay. So do the homework assignments on mastering chemistry. This class is demanding just because it's online. Are the due dates for all the assignments up to date? I actually have all the assignments built in, but I've only shown you the ones I want you to work on right now. I will start to post them a little bit ahead of time because I've already made them. So if you want to get ahead of the class, you'll be able to. But I don't want anyone getting too far ahead. I want to kind of focus you in on the problems you should be doing right now. But I will allow you to get ahead a little bit if you want to. You're welcome. In terms of support services, all these support services, some of them are available, some are not. If you want to know which ones are available and which ones are not, they're shown on the Specialized Valley College webpage. So they have changed the way it looks now. And so it's all about, you know, the campus being online, and they give you updates. They've just started to do tutoring again. So they don't have the information up here, but I have heard some people have asked them for tutoring. So if you go to their page, it says how to get online tutoring here. And so you can start to get tutoring. And also you can just email me for tutoring too. I'm a little bit more comfortable, writing things online. Definitely take advantage of our classroom hours. Yeah, you should be able to. You don't have to do them all at once, and that goes for all the assignments. Whatever you've done should save. If you're having any technical difficulties, let me know. But I have quite a few people already started, and all of them seem to be doing okay. A lot of them are maxing out the points or getting real close. So that's what I expect. I think a lot of people on the assignments will be able to max out the points or at least get pretty close, because you can redo the problems and redo assignments over and over and over until you get them done. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, you should be able to do them bit by bit. I've seen people already doing them bit by bit. They've got it like a third done or whatever. So the points, the way the point system is going to work has been adjusted because I want to make things a little bit easier. I've downgraded the amount of points that are going to be due to exams. Instead of being 500 points, the total for the exams is down to 340 points. That was 130 points for each of the first 2 exams, plus 50 extra credit points if you do the assignment. Midterm exam 3 will be worth 80 points now instead of 130. And the final exam, as we can see here, will be worth 140. Okay. So I've instead of 200 as it was going to be before. The quizzes we've had up to now, there were 6 at 10 points each. One of them will be dropped, so that will be 50 points. Yes, it will save. Yeah, good. You guys are answering your own questions too. That's good. Yeah, talk to each other. One thing you can do too is you can form discussions groups about each one. So while we're here, I'm going to form a discussion group for the extra credit assignment in case you guys want to talk about it. And I'll be putting that in there. Lab will now be worth 170 points. There will be a lab final, but the lab final will only worth 20 instead of 50. And the lab final will be done just the same way as the rest of the labs on a Word document. You have to finish that one. Finally, the homework and assignments, which were previously 100 points, are now going to be 300 points. Your assignments, the 25-point assignments that you turned in before exam 1, again, I'm going to be returning those graded to you in a scan as soon as I get my brand new scanning machine in the mail any day now. However, the scores have been posted. So if you look right under the syllabus on Canvas here, the gradebook is there. And I've cut out everything except for the stuff that had scores before we left. Now, the new gradebook is going to have all these scores and more built into Canvas. I'm still working on it. But here are your scores for homework 1 and homework 2. If there is a lab assignment or some kind of assignment that you did, but you haven't turned in yet, like a lot of people forgot to turn in exercise C, you'll still be able to turn that in by emailing it to me, taking a picture and emailing it to me. I'll have the full grade book up into Canvas, converted into Canvas before the end of the week. I'm still working on that. And this will include all the scores. The only scores that I have left here from before we left are a couple of labs, which I need to put in here. But then this will all be converted into the grade section on Canvas. So you can see here, the grade section already includes some of the mastering chemistry assignments and the experiment 3, which we're going to do today. You can see some people have already gotten started. I shouldn't be showing everyone's grades, but those are just extra credit grades. Here, of course, these are still posted by your class ID, so they're secret. Now, in terms of any other questions at this point about the homework. So here's a point breakdown. A lot of points on homework and assignments. If you do these, it almost guarantees that you should be able to hit the amount of points you need. It's still the same grading basis. So to pass, you need 700 points, 300 points are almost guaranteed. And the lab, as long as you do the labs, those are nearly guaranteed. And then you've got 50 extra credit points almost guaranteed. So I think getting a C will be something almost everyone can do, even if they didn't do too well on the first couple exams. Getting a B won't be too much harder, but the problem is that I can't watch you do these homework assignments. So it's really important that you don't just, copy homework assignments and things like that. You really need to understand how to do them. For exams, the questions and the numbers will be slightly randomized. So you're not going to have the same questions and numbers exactly as your friend or whatever. So it won't really be possible to copy anyway. So you're going to need to make sure that you still understand how to do these homework assignments before the exams come, because they're timed and the questions are randomized. So you need to know how to do it on your own. And so that's what I'm here for, to help you get there before each exam. For previous extra credit, like at the Student Success Center, and the Mesa and stuff, the campus has been shut down. So I'm not sure that I'm going to have access to any records of those things. But I have put in, and I will continue to put in a few more extra credit assignments on mastering chemistry. So that's where our extra credit is going to come from now on. Unfortunately, due to the sudden campus shutdown, I wasn't able to do extra credit in the same way I usually do. So I've crossed it out and said there's lots of extra credit stuff on mastering chemistry. And then in terms of labs, so lab assignments, now that we're shut down, you're going to download a Word document and either print it or fill it in. And you can re-upload that Word document, or you can take a picture of the one you wrote on using your phone or a scanner and submit that. And so our new lab points are going to be 170 points. Here's the new point breakdown. Let me show you how where the lab assignments are. So if we go back to home here, okay, we have assignments. That's one place where you can find them. So the homework assignments are through Mastering Chemistry. The lab assignments are right here, or you can just follow along with them in the modules. So we have slides 15 from before we left, slide 16 now, and here's the experiment. So here's the actual Word document of the experiment where you can download it. You can just print it too. So you could choose to print this right now if you wanted to, or you can download it and fill it in. So you can see for experiment 3, I have pictures here. All the experiments are going to be adjusted to work online. So they're going to say online version on them. For this one, it was pretty easy. I already had pictures of the stations for this. So I just took a picture and you work off the picture. So for example, well, I'll show you more in lab, but station 1 is 123.6 grams of lead. So if I were to start to fill it out, I would type in the 123.6 grams here, and then I'd start to type in calculations. I'll show you how to do that in lab today. Once you're done, I'll show you what it looks like from a student perspective. So I'm going to go into student view now, show you what it looks like for you. So if you've downloaded the experiment 3 online version, filled it out somehow, either by writing on it and taking a picture, or by typing into it with Word, you go to the actual assignment experiment 3, and there will be a button to submit the assignment. You can see it's worth 10 points. Then you can choose a file such as the Word document or the picture. If you have multiple pictures, you can add more files like that. Try, if you can, put it into one picture. That's a little easier for me, but you could have multiple pictures of multiple pages. You can upload any file format and I can go and check it. So that's how labs will be turned in. Okay. All right, and that's really all there is for the syllabus. Regarding the assignments, so I do still have homework assignments here, textbook. So they're not going to be textbook practice problems anymore. In a sense, they are your actual homework assignments. So I've already uploaded the assignment for chapter 16. It basically includes these questions with some small differences because not all the questions are in the software, but I mainly duplicated the assignments that we have here, and the reading assignments from the textbook are the same. On Mastering Chemistry, if we go over there, so you guys should already have the book since you had it before, presumably, but you'll also have my slides to go off of. But if you're doing this assignment here, lesson 16, the mall, so this is the student view. All right, we're doing the assignment here, so these are the questions. If you want to review, you can actually click to the link in the text, and it will tell you, oh, this question, to know how to do this question, is from this section in the textbook right here. Okay, also you could just go back to my slides. Oh yeah, you want to see how to submit experiment 3 again? If you're looking here, you can either look here in assignments, and you'll see it under lab assignments. Well, for you, it will say upcoming assignments, experiment 3. Okay. Or you can go to the actual, so the modules have it in chronological order. So we did this before we left. Now we're doing experiment 3 and lesson 16. So you'll download the actual document, and then you'll fill it in by either typing in it or by writing on it. And then you'll click to experiment 3 here, and there'll be a button to submit the assignment. You click that, and then you can upload a file. You just choose the file you want. You could also upload, you could either upload the Word document or a picture. And you should be able to do this on a phone as well. So if you had your pictures from your phone, you could upload those pictures. Yeah. If you guys, again, if you guys have any technical difficulties, let me know. I'll do my best to solve them. If you are having trouble logging into Canvas, okay. If you're having trouble logging into Canvas or doing anything that's associated with the computer systems of the campus, I will tell you to contact the SBVC help desk, which if I just Google it here, you'll get a link right here. Campus Technology Services gives you a phone number. And also you can submit a ticket online instead if you prefer through this School Dude thing, which you'd have to make an account for. But if you have any technical difficulties with logging into Canvas itself, that's where you want to go. When it comes to mastering chemistry, if you're having trouble inputting an answer, chances are other people are too. So I'll find a way to solve that problem. If enough people ask me the same questions, I'll just make a video about it and post it up into Canvas. And that's it for how the class is going to go moving forward. You're going to do your assignments and your exams through Mastering Chemistry. You're going to submit your labs in the way that I show here via Word document or picture that you took of the document. Okay. But your homework today, the number one first thing you got to do is sign up for Mastering Chemistry if you haven't already. And again, I put another announcement right at the top here. So reminder, register for Mastering Chemistry. Do it through Canvas. Click the My Lab and Mastery. Okay. Click the big orange button. Then use the free code that I gave you in the announcement right here. This is the free code. Okay. The lab, so the lab will probably take you 3 hours to complete. However, I will be available. However, you do not have to do the lab at any particular time. All the lectures that I give during lecture and lab will be recorded. So if for some reason you couldn't do the lecture or the lab at that moment, it will be possible to watch the lecture and to complete the lab at a later time. What I do want to know is I need to know that everyone who is still signed up for the class is still involved. So right now I've got 21 people in here. I wish that I could, I think it will send me a list of the participants in the meeting later, I hope. But yeah, I do need everyone. So I'm going to be basically sending out an email. This is the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to send out an email to all of you guys. And it's going to ask you basically, are you dropping or not? Yeah, so when does experiment 3 due? Experiment 3 will be due 1 week from today. So if you want to know when anything's due, you go down to assignments and you can see all the due dates for everything. So lesson 6 is due in a week, or list 16. Experiment 3, I actually made it kind of a longer due date. Most of the labs, it will be due sooner than that. I just wanted to make sure that you had time in case you're still getting used to trying to submit it. But I do want you to turn this lab assignment in today if possible, or before we meet again. So I'll remind you guys next time we meet in lecture, hey, I still have so many people who haven't done experiment 3. Please do experiment 3. Yeah. But I did give you a little bit of a leeway on that. Yeah, if I go back to student view too, they're listed in the order of when they're due. So for example, the mole assignment on mastering chemistry is due the soonest. It's due a week from today because I want you to get started on that right away. Experiment 3, I gave you quite a long time, maybe too long. But I'm going to remind you guys next time. Generally, labs will be due about within 78 hours, 3 days, basically, 72 hours of when, by the next class session, essentially. Oh, yeah. If you have any questions at any time, you'll notice that I'm very on top of email right now because unfortunately I have to work nonstop to change this into an online class. That's why it took me a little bit of time to get to your exams. I meant to get to them in the beginning of spring break. However, that's when everything started to change suddenly and I had to focus on that. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, here's where you can see where the assignments are due. This shows you all the assignments. And then when you go into here, this is the organization of how we're going through it in lecture. I guess this should technically be above these, but we're working from unit 3 right now, preparing for the 3rd exam. Other questions about the syllabus or technology or anything? And if you don't have questions now, yeah, of course, I'll be available in my office hours. I'll be available by email, okay? And other times too. Just let me know if you need something.
I have another question.
Yes.
So can we find like the link to like where you post the videos on YouTube?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay. So right here, right underneath the gradebook, I have a link, Dr. L CHEM101 video playlist. This is the YouTube playlist where the YouTube videos are going to go. Thanks for asking that. I forgot to mention. So if you click right now, okay, and go to YouTube, you'll see that I had a Q&A test to kind of test everything before the first lecture. And this also explained how to sign up for everything.
Okay.
So this was before I had the syllabus ready though. So the next video in this series will be the lecture we're having right now.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions? You guys, so yeah, again, just let me know. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shift over into lecture mode. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment. So you'll just see me. I'm going to shift over to my lecture interface. And then I'm going to project my scene. And now I'm going to share my screen again. And hopefully I choose the right one this time. Let me know if it looks weird or anything. Okay. And so now you should see me essentially in front of a slideshow. Oh, this isn't the right one. Sorry, just a second. Stop share. All right, lecture. Okay, there we go. All right, Zoom. Share screen. Now you should see me in front of a background. And now, there. Okay. So just shout out to me if anything is weird or if you can't hear me. Okay. So I'll try to, I may miss the text chat here. Well, let me see if I can bring it up real quick, just in case. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I'll put this down here in the corner. All right. This down here. Okay. All right. So you should see me now standing in front of my slides. So this is the way I'm going to give the lectures. Now I'm still working on the webcam focusing me right, so it kind of goes in and out of focus, but I should be able to point at things and it should feel just like a regular lecture. One issue is sound. If the sound isn't so good, let me know. Another issue is that I can't write, or I can write, but it's just better if I type. So that's the way I'm going to be doing things for the most part. Okay, so let's start talking about how we're going to count atoms by weighing, or we're going to use this concept called the mole. So the mole is a certain number of things. In the same way 12 is a dozen, a mole is a large number of things used for counting atoms and so forth. We're going to be calculating what's known as the molar mass for various compounds. This is the mass of this 1 mole of these particular units. Remember that for covalent compounds, we generally have molecules. So we can also call the molar mass for covalent compounds the molecular mass, because covalent compounds have molecules. And for ionic compounds, they don't have molecules. So we would call the molar mass the formula mass. So that's going to be some terminology that we're using. So here I'll use this as a test to ask you questions. How can we know if a compound is ionic and not covalent? It has metal. Yeah, metal and a non-metal, right? Yeah, and you guys can also say these out loud too. You can answer it just like if you were in class, okay? All right, so let's start talking about this. Now, when it comes to atoms, if we want to count how many atoms, we can't just count them out one by one by one. It just would take forever. It would be impossible. Atoms are too small to even be seen. So how are we going to count them with tweezers? We can't. So instead what we do is we weigh them. So atoms are so small, how can you measure out if you want a certain number of atoms? We're going to count our atoms, not really counting them, but we're going to weigh them, and then we're going to have a relationship that tells us how many atoms are in a certain weight of stuff. And it's going to vary from atom to atom. Different atoms, different types of atoms weigh different amounts. Hydrogen atoms, for example, are the lightest because they only have 1 proton. And then, for example, lead atoms, they have lots and lots of protons, or so they're much, much heavier. They also have neutrons. Just going back to protons, neutrons, and electrons, which out of those is the lightest, the least mass? Protons, neutrons, or electrons? Answer here is electrons. Remember, electrons are very, very light. Their mass almost doesn't count. Remember when we were doing the mass number, that was the number of protons and neutrons, because those have a certain mass that's very quantifiable compared to electrons, very, very, very small mass compared to those. Okay. So here's where we get to this number called the mole. And this is the mole with 4 sig figs. A lot of times you'll see it written with 3. Either way is fine. You just take as many sig figs as you want. And I have atoms here. A mole can be used to count anything, but it's usually used to count atoms or molecules or things that are very small, because this number is so huge that if you had that many of, let's say, pennies, the entire surface of the earth would be covered with pennies. So it doesn't make sense to use this number really for large things. It's really, really useful though for counting atoms. It's like if you wanted to count how many eggs that you use to, make the eggs at hometown buffet, you'd probably count them in dozens instead of individual eggs. This is often called the chemist's dozen. This is the convenient number for counting atoms and molecules and other small things. So a very large number of atoms has to be counted for each element. So for example, the reason why we use a mole is because a mole actually stands for, the word mole comes from the Latin for pile, a pile of atoms. A little pile that you could fit in your hand. So that's generally about the size of 1 mole of any types of atoms or molecules. So for example, with neon, the molar mass of neon is 20.18 grams. And the place where you're going to find that is on the periodic table. If you look on the periodic table, and I should have told you guys to get out your periodic table, but if you look at a periodic table, you'll see underneath the letters NE, there's going to be a number that says 20.18 grams. Okay, that number is the mass of 1 mole. What it means is that if you have this many atoms, 1 mole of atoms of neon, you have 20.18 grams of neon. Okay. What about when atoms make compounds? Well, if the atoms are making compounds, then you're going to have to write out and add up all the masses of all the atoms making that compound, okay? And I'll teach you how to do that. So what we often want to do with these masses is we want to calculate the molar mass. Before I move forward though, I don't have an easy way to do this actually. Let me see here. I'll figure it out, but look at a periodic table. And look underneath neon and find that number. Every one of the elements has a number like that. It's called the average atomic mass. And those are the numbers we're going to use when we do this. Okay, so let's say we want to have the mass of 1 mole of H2O. So if we have 1 water molecule, then it has 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. If we have a dozen water molecules, well, then there's a dozen oxygen atoms and there's 2 dozen hydrogen atoms. If we have a mole of water molecules, we're going to have 2 moles of hydrogen atoms and 1 mole of oxygen atoms. And so if we want to know the mass of 1 mole of water, we have to add up the mass of those 2 moles of hydrogen atoms and the 1 mole of oxygen atoms. So we go over to the periodic table and we look for hydrogen in the periodic table. And if you look underneath hydrogen, you're going to see a number that says like 1.007 something, right? Or to 3 sig figs, 1.01. So often when you look underneath the number on the periodic table, you're going to see a whole lot of numbers, okay? You might see many, many significant figures, but you only need to keep the ones that are good enough for the calculation you're making. You don't need to write all of them all of the time. So here I have rounded the mass for the hydrogen to 1.01, 3 sig figs. And that's for 1 mole of hydrogen. Since we have 2 moles of hydrogen, our mass of our hydrogen atoms will be twice that. So the 2 moles of hydrogen atoms will weigh 2.02 grams. Then on top of that, not only do we have the 2 moles of hydrogen, we also have the 1 mole of oxygen. So our 1 mole of oxygen, we're going to again look at the periodic table. So look for oxygen on your periodic table if you've got one somewhere. And underneath, you're going to find the number 15.999999, or rounded to 2 after the decimal, 16. So we have 1 mole of oxygen atoms, 1 mole of oxygen atoms weighs 16 grams. So we have 16 grams from the oxygen and 2.02 grams from the hydrogen. Yes. For the practice problems, the way I'm going to submit those to you is going to be through the Mastering Chemistry. And the advantage of that is that you get immediate feedback. So since I can't be in there, you know, watching over your shoulder while you fill out these in lab or whatever, the Mastering Chemistry will give you instant feedback on whether you've gotten it right or wrong. If you do have a problem, if you have an issue with one of those problems and you're getting the wrong answer, and just let me know right away and we'll fix it. Yeah. But the way I'm handling assignments and problems is I'm putting them through Mastering Chemistry, because that is the only way I can know whether you've actually done them or not. So that's the reason why they're going through there. But they are the same problems that I had previously assigned, and the readings are the same. So nothing has really changed there. And then instead of writing out exams, the problems that I'm going to give you are going to be the problems that are in Mastering Chemistry. So I think that doing those problems will best prepare you for the exam anyway. Of course, I can give you more problems if you want them. The way I'll give them to you is probably just an extra assignment on Mastering Chemistry. Just let me know. If you feel like if you guys ever feel like you're not getting a topic and you keep getting those particular questions wrong, I can assign more questions for extra credit about that topic, or just more questions to practice with. But the questions that I'll give you to practice will be on Mastering Chemistry. I will still continue to post these slides though with these notes, and also the videos. Yeah. So anyway, we were about to calculate the molar mass for 1 mole of water. Oh, you're welcome. So we have the 2 moles of hydrogen, which weigh 2.02 grams. We have the 1 mole of oxygen weighing 16 grams. So to get the mass for the whole mole of water, which contains the 2 moles of hydrogen atoms and the 1 mole of oxygen atoms, we add these 2 masses up. So the molar mass of water is 2.02 plus 16, which is 18.02 grams per mole. What this means is if we have 1 mole of water molecules, that 1 mole of water molecules weighs 18.02 grams. Yes, I will be posting videos about lectures and labs. Every time we do one of these, lecture or lab, I'm gonna post up the video. Yeah, you got it. This video is going online. Good questions, good questions. So what are we gonna do? And just keep them coming, keep them coming. All right, I'll answer the questions. Sometimes it'll take me a second, but I'll answer them definitely. The question was, if I'm doing a problem like this one on Mastering Chemistry, do I get points deducted for taking too many tries? The answer is you shouldn't. You should be able to try it almost an unlimited number of times. I maxed out the settings for how many chances you get for everything. Yeah. So it should be that you guys can get all the points on the assignments if you keep trying. Yeah. So let's do a problem anyway. So we calculated this molar mass, right? So this molar mass, what it tells us is a relationship between, if we have 1 mole or 6.02 times 10 to the 23 water molecules, this many water molecules, which is a mole of water molecules, will weigh 18.02 grams. So that is a conversion factor for us. 1 mole H2O equals 18.02 grams H2O. You're welcome. Yeah. So let's use that for a problem now. Okay. So we did that work. We figured out the molar mass of water. 1 mole of H2O is 18.02 grams of H2O. Okay. And now we have a problem here. How many moles of water molecules are there in 120 grams of water? So when we read this problem, we need to do just like we did for our old school conversion problems, all the way back from lesson 3. We're going back to conversions in a big way right now. So we need to find our data in the problem. So the data is the one that looks like number and unit. Here's the data, 120 grams of water. That's where we're going to start. So we're going to write it right there, 120 grams of water. Okay. Now we need to apply a conversion factor. And we want the conversion factor to have a particular unit down here. This is always the case. So let's bring back our memory to conversion factors. If my unit here is grams of water, when I make my fraction, what unit must be right here? Grams of water, right? It has to be, otherwise it won't cancel. So we know that our unit grams of water has got to be right here. What we need to do is find a conversion factor that will take us from grams of water to moles of water, because that's what we're being asked to get. Well, that is the molar mass. That's what the molar mass is for. So we have grams of water here. and moles of water. So on the other side of the fraction will go the number of moles of water. Okay. First of all, the number that will go with grams is the number right here, 18.02 grams of water. Then the other side of the fraction will be the other side of our conversion factor here. This is the part that will now go on the top. So let's put it there. Oh yeah, noting that the reason why we had grams down here was to cancel. Now we put the moles of water on top, and that is giving us moles of water. Is that what we were asked to get? Yep, moles of water. So now all we have to do is take 120 and divide by 18.02. Okay, so let's do that. We get 6.659 moles of water. Okay, and notice that I have rounded this to 4 sig figs. My molar mass, I calculated it with 4 sig figs. My original data had 4 sig figs, so my results should also have 4 sig figs. Will there be a different Zoom for lab? Yes. Basically, lecture and lab time are going to start at the normal times. There will be a different Zoom room. And from now on, before I finish this lecture, I need to tell you guys, from now on, I'm just going to use my own personal Zoom room. I'll put this in an announcement too after we're done here. So every time, the link will always be the same. Because putting it through Confer Zoom, it made the link always different. And I don't want that. I want it to be always the same link. So you just click that link and get to lecture or lab. Right at the end of this, I'll tell you about that. For lab today, obviously we're just barely getting into the lecture for lesson 16, but I do need to finish lesson 16 today. So we'll be using some of our lab time for lesson 16 and we'll finish it. You're welcome. Okay, so we've got the moles of water. We notice what this is good for. This conversion factor is good for going from grams of something, between grams of something and moles of something. That's what molar mass is for. Go between grams and moles, back and forth. Grams of something, moles of something. If you want to go between those, you use molar mass. Questions here on this first example? Next example. How many water molecules do we have now? Okay, so the last problem, we were able to figure out how many moles of water molecules, but this question is not asking us how many moles, it's asking us how many. So what we need is a relationship between how many is 1 mole. Well, that's just the definition of a mole. A mole of anything is 6.022 times 10 to the 23 of those things. So that's going to be the relationship we use. But let's start with our data that we had from the last problem. 6.659 moles. We've copied it down here. And the relationship, yes, exactly. If the number's on the bottom, you divide. And if the number is on the top, you press times. Always true. You don't have to use parentheses. You do it that way. Good point. Yeah. So here, what is the unit in our conversion factor that we're going to need to go down here? Moles, yeah, because we got to cancel, right? Yes, yes, good. You guys got it. All right, we got to cancel, right? We got to cancel. So we already know whatever unit is here, it's always going to be the same down here. So we're going to have moles of H2O. Whoops, I put a 0 there instead of a O, but that's supposed to be H2O. Okay. So what we're trying to get to is how many. Okay. So the way I'm going to write how many is I'm just going to write it as H2O. So the H2O here represents the H2O molecule. Sometimes I won't write the word molecule. Okay. I'll write the formula to indicate that it's a molecule. So what I need is on the top, I need the top to be equal to what the bottom is. But mole, those letters, MOL, they mean a number. That number is 6.02 times 10 to the 23. So if I want my conversion factor to be a good one, the bottom and the top have to mean the same thing. Just like up here, if I'm talking about 18.02 grams of water, that means 1 mole of water molecules. That's 2 ways of saying the same thing. Now, if I'm talking about moles of water, a mole of water molecules, and I want how many that is, well, a mole of anything is this, these three letters, MOL, mean this number, 6.02 times 10 to the 23. 1 mole and this number mean the same number of things, okay? So when I say mole H2O, I'm saying this many H2Os, okay? And my result is H2Os or H2O molecules. Again, sometimes I'll just assume that you know that that is a molecule because it's a covalent compound. It must be making a molecule. So notice my moles will cancel here. So my mole units cancel. And what I get is my number of H2Os or H2O molecules, even though I didn't write the word molecule. So now here's where you're going to have to type this into your calculator. And I'm going to show you how to type this into your calculator now. I think that I will have to adjust how I do this in the future because I do want to be able to show you the calculator. So, this is unfortunate. I'm going to go back to, yeah, this will be a little smoother later on, but I'm going to go back to office mode, office hours mode. And I might just stay there. Okay. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the delay. I'm pretty comfortable with this, but I'm still figuring things out a little bit on myself. This is kind of a new setup. Okay. So I've put this back onto office hours mode. Sorry if there's bumps and stuff too. I don't have a shock absorber for my mic yet. So every time I touch the mic, it's probably really loud. So on your Windows, if you search through Windows here, and oh, I'm not sharing the screen probably yet, huh? Let me go back to sharing the screen. Yeah. Okay, share the screen, share my projector source. Okay, that should show you what I'm doing. All right. Now, let me know if it's not. But if you go into Windows, you should have Calculator app, which you can use. That's what I'm going to use here. Or you can just use the calculator you're using in class. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you should see that now. And so again, yeah, as someone was previously mentioning, if the numbers on the top you press times and the numbers at the bottom you press divide. Where'd my chat go? Where's my chat? Zoom is kind of weird. If anyone can shout at me if there's something wrong, just let me know. Okay, so here's my calculator. And I'm going to do 6.659, 6.659. Oops, I put a 0 in there, 6.659. And then I'm going to multiply this, and I'm going to put 6.022. Then am I going to type times 10 to the power of something here? That's something I ever do? No, right? No. Good. Instead, I'm going to use my EE or my EXP button, right? When I'm doing times 10 to the power, I need to use my EE or EXP button. Mine says EXP. Yours might look a little different. But something like this will come up, and then I'll put 23. This means 6.022 times 10 to the 23. So now I multiply them, and I get this big number. It's huge. I probably don't want to write that out. So on the Windows calculator, there's a button here, FE. That will turn it back to scientific notation. So this is going to be about 4.010. I'm going to cut it off at 4 sig figs times 10 to the 24th. So I'll write that right there. Okay. So that's how you do a problem like that. Now we're running short on time. So I'm going to end this part of the lecture here. I'm going to continue well into the lab today on lecture. And I'm going to get you started on experiment 3 as well. Now, before we finish for this part of the lecture and continue in once we get to our lab time, I want to show you what it is that I'm going to be doing for our future sessions. Okay, so and I'm going to do it right in front of you so you see what happens. So previously, for our first meeting, I had you click here and join the meeting right here. For me, it says host because I'm hosting it. I don't want to use this confer Zoom anymore. Here's what I'm going to do instead. I have my own personal Zoom room right here with my own personal meeting ID. It's always the same. Okay. And so you should be able to see that now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy an invitation from that. And it has a certain link on it. Let me open Word here. All right. Okay, and it gives me this link. So this is very much like the link you saw before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this link, which is my room, and I'm going to always do my lectures and labs and everything at the normal time through that room. So I'm going to go back to our modules, and in here I'm going to put a external URL. That URL is going to be a link to my Zoom room. You can also dial in to that. That's the phone number if you wanted to dial in. Okay, so this is going to be Dr. Lemieux's Zoom room. Okay, this is for lectures, labs, etc. Okay, and it's going to be right here now. I'm going to move it up so that it's right above my YouTube here. I'm going to open it up. So now if you click this, you should always be able to go to my Zoom room, and that's where lectures and labs are going to be held. They're going to be held at the normal time that they were always held before. And of course, if for some reason you can't make that time on Zoom, there will be the lectures available on the YouTube. Yeah. And this is going to be used for every class session, right? And it's going to be same time, same place. You know, I'll even get you started on exams this way. I'll say, okay, you guys are about to get onto mastering chemistry and take an exam. You know, you must email me immediately if something goes wrong, immediately. It will use it for lab today. Okay, so when we go to lab today, and I'm going to announce it, so let me make the announcement now. So go back to, and so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hide that confer Zoom. Okay, I'm going to put it all the way on the bottom. I don't want to use it anymore. And so I'm going to now make an announcement. Okay. All right. Doctor. So all labs, lectures, office hours. Sorry if that's loud. Okay, and so that takes care of that. So when we go to lab, just click on this link and you should be able to get to the lab session. Yeah. Okay, any other questions before I let you guys go to take a break before we go to lab? So lab will be at 1 o'clock. You'll want to click this link. I'm going to continue the lecture on lesson 16 until it's done. And then I'm going to explain to you how, oh, sorry, I keep touching the mic. It's probably loud. I'm going to explain to you how it is that you are going to do experiment 3, and I'll get you started on that. Okay. So I hope this worked well for you. Again, email me, let me know if you've got any questions, and I will see you in just 45 minutes at this link right here, my own Zoom room. That's where all future sessions will be. And again, you can access it always right here. This will be the permanent link for all lectures and labs. Okay, so I'm going to end this and meeting, and I will see you guys next time. You will see the video come up shortly on YouTube, although it does take some time for it to have good quality. It might take a few hours, but yes, I will see you all in lab. Any last questions on chat? Okay, let's start lab 5 after too, just to make sure everyone's in, but I'll see you there. Okay.